Canada cuts 3,300 IRCC jobs. Inside the mass layoffs rocking immigration. Welcome back to Canada Chronicles. Today, we're diving into a massive shake-up at the heart of Canada's immigration system. Over 3,300 jobs have just been cut at Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, and thousands more workers are facing sudden pay reductions. This isn't just a staffing issue, it's a seismic shift that could impact processing times, refugee claims, international students, and the future of skilled immigration. But the story doesn't stop there. As we unpack what led to these cuts and what they really mean for newcomers and the system itself, we'll also explore a serious question rising in political and public circles. Is Canada's immigration system on the brink of collapse? That's coming up later in the video, and you'll want to stick around to fully understand what's at stake. If you care about immigration, policy, or Canada's future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's get started. The Canadian immigration system is facing one of the most disruptive overhauls in more than a decade. At the center of it all is Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. The department has just slashed over 3,300 jobs, and nearly 7,000 additional employees are being pushed into lower salary brackets. These changes affect close to three-quarters of the entire workforce. This isn't a minor administrative shakeup. This is a structural blow to one of the most important systems in the country. And it's unfolding while Canada is still battling immigration backlogs, a housing affordability crisis, and mounting pressure on public services. What triggered the cuts? The mass layoffs are rooted in Canada's 2025 to 2027 immigration plan, which aimed to stabilize immigration growth. In late 2024, the federal government announced a strategic shift away from temporary immigration. It introduced caps on international student permits and committed to reducing the overall number of temporary residents. That shift created the justification for the cuts. In January 2025, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada announced the elimination of over 3,300 positions. The majority were in the National Capital Region. At the same time, nearly 7,000 existing employees were informed that their roles would be reclassified at lower salary levels. The official reasoning? Reduced intake means fewer files to process. But that's a surface-level view of a much deeper issue. The real challenge isn't that immigration is slowing. It's that the nature of demand has changed. There are still more than 2.5 million temporary residents living in Canada. Refugee claims are rising. And international students who are already in the country still require processing support, extensions, and clear pathways to permanent residency. Across Canada, key industries, including construction, hospitality, agriculture, healthcare, transportation, and manufacturing, still rely on both temporary foreign workers and new permanent residents to function and grow. So while some intake may slow, the operational need has hardly disappeared. The human cost of downsizing. At a rally held in Ottawa, Angela Joya, president of Local 522 of the Canadian Association of Professional Employees, stood before a crowd of public servants and union leaders. Her voice carried a message that echoed through the courtyard. These layoffs are personal. Joya spoke of colleagues who received notice with little warning. One coworker, pregnant and preparing for maternity leave, was told her contract would not be renewed. Others are now juggling sudden unemployment with mortgages, childcare, and no clear path forward. Inside the department, morale has collapsed. Farewell cards are passed around daily. Offices sit half empty. And those still employed face the uncertainty of reapplying for their own jobs, at lower pay. Unions like the Public Service Alliance of Canada and the Canadian Association of Professional Employees have filed formal grievances. They argue that Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada failed to respect workforce adjustment protocols and did not provide transparency around how decisions were made. This isn't just about budgets. It's about people who have built careers around serving others, now facing their own uncertain futures. Why Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada was hit first. This department wasn't randomly chosen. Between 2015 and 2023, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada grew faster than nearly any other federal body. This was a response to Canada's aggressive immigration targets, which soared to record highs under the Trudeau government. As immigration surged, so did the department's responsibilities. Staff were hired in droves to process permanent residency applications, issue study and work permits, and handle refugee claims. In just a few years, IRCC's workforce nearly doubled. But in late 2024, amid political pressure tied to rising rent, strained infrastructure, and student visa misuse, the government reversed course. Temporary immigration programs were restricted, and student intake was capped. IRCC suddenly became oversized for its redefined mission, and the cuts followed swiftly. Yet the volume of work hasn't shrunk in kind. Existing residents, refugees, and families continue to rely on the same services, often more urgently than ever. Backlogs, delays, and broken trust. Canada's immigration processing system was already stretched thin before the layoffs. Backlogs had piled up across key streams: permanent residency, postgraduate work permits, labor market impact assessments, and family reunification cases. Now, with thousands of experienced officers gone and thousands more reassigned or demoted, those delays are set to increase further. A student graduating from a Canadian university may now wait more than 5 months just to receive a work permit. An employer trying to hire an international nurse or electrician could face approval timelines that stretch beyond what's feasible. A spouse overseas might remain separated from their partner in Canada for another year, or longer. Programs that previously helped Canada attract global talent, like the startup visa and the caregiver stream, are also slowing. And with fewer people available to communicate updates or provide clarity, frustrations are rising. The damage isn't just to processing times, it's to public trust. Immigrants arrive in Canada believing in a fair and reliable system. When that system falters, it sends a message that they aren't a priority. The politics behind the layoffs. Let's be real. This isn't just about operations, it's about optics. After exceeding its own spending caps in 2024, the federal government pledged to tighten its belt. Cutting staff at a department that had rapidly grown became a symbol of action. It's also no coincidence this is happening in an election year. Political leaders, from conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to potential Liberal successor Mark Carney, have signaled they support trimming the size of the federal workforce. The Trudeau government needed to show fiscal responsibility without fully abandoning its immigration commitments, and IRCC was the compromise. But this cost-cutting move comes with long-term risks that go far beyond the ballot box. Consultants fill the gap, and not always safely. With IRCC downsizing, private immigration consultants are stepping in to fill the gap. But that comes with serious challenges. Many consultants charge high fees and promote unrealistic promises, especially to international students desperate for pathways to permanent status. Some exploit gray areas in immigration policy. And with fewer federal employees available to offer direct guidance, more people are turning to these private agents, legitimate or not. This growing reliance on private actors shifts immigration from a public good to a market commodity. Those who can pay are more likely to succeed. Those who can't may get stuck, misled, or worse, defrauded. Refugee processing under pressure. The global picture only adds to the urgency. Conflicts in Gaza, Ukraine, and parts of Africa are driving new waves of displacement. Canada has long been a global leader in refugee resettlement. But with these cuts, that position is under threat. The average refugee claim in Canada already takes years to process. Now, with fewer officers and greater caseloads, that timeline will only expand. Some applicants may remain in limbo for half a decade, unable to work, settle, or reunite with family. Provinces will feel this pressure, too. Delayed work permits mean higher demand for provincial housing, healthcare, and welfare programs. Thanks for staying with us this far. We appreciate your time and hope you're finding this information valuable. Let's now look at something even more critical. Is Canada's immigration system on the brink of collapse? This isn't fear-mongering, it's a question more and more Canadians are asking. Here's why. You have a shrinking workforce at the department responsible for immigration, increased reliance on private consultants, rising refugee numbers, growing backlogs, and tightening political rhetoric. This mix creates a system that risks breaking down, not all at once, but in key places where the pressure is highest. And that's not theoretical. We're already seeing early signs. Missed deadlines, longer queues, more errors, and frustrated applicants giving up and leaving. Some provinces are preparing to bypass federal bottlenecks by expanding their own nominee programs. Experts now warn of a growing two-tier system, where the well-resourced and well-connected get through quickly, and everyone else waits indefinitely. And globally, Canada's reputation is at stake. If talented workers, students, and entrepreneurs lose faith in Canada's system, they'll look to countries offering faster, more transparent alternatives. Australia, Germany, and even parts of the US are already attracting disillusioned applicants. This erosion won't be loud or dramatic, it will be gradual, but deeply damaging. The solution no one's talking about. So how do we fix this before the damage is permanent? It starts with political will. Reinvest in immigration, refugees, and Citizenship Canada, not to balloon its size, but to align its capacity with real demand. Protect frontline staff from political swings. Restore transparent communication and staffing plans. and equip the system with smart technology that enhances, not replaces, human oversight. There are calls for an independent commission to review immigration processing integrity. Others are pushing for clearer timelines and accountability metrics built into department targets. And we need to treat immigration as essential infrastructure. Just like healthcare or transit, it needs stable funding, long-term planning, and protections from short-term politics. Because behind every file is someone's future. And behind every policy is the country we want to become. What's happening at Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada isn't just a budget cut or internal restructuring, it's a warning sign. The system that processes millions of applications, welcomes refugees, and supports Canada's economy is under real pressure. With jobs slashed, services stretched, and public trust at risk, the ripple effects will be felt across communities, classrooms, and workplaces. Whether you're a student, an employer, a newcomer, or just someone who believes in a fair and functional immigration system, this matters. And as we head into an election year, how Canada handles this moment could shape its identity for decades to come. Thanks for watching Canada Chronicles. If you found this video helpful or eye-opening, give it a like and share it with someone who needs to know what's really going on. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the stories shaping Canada. Got thoughts on today's topic? Drop them in the comments, we're reading everything. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.